to you from underneath a peach blossom. It's time for an episode of Be Awesome. Find positivity throughout your life and work, just like our mascot rooster, Steve the Jerk.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Be Awesome podcast. It's Joshua Peach. I am without Mark Resnick again. I'm starting to feel a little lonely with my co-host not being here, but I'm just glad I've got great guests to keep me company. Launched the book way better than we could have ever asked. We had a very large pre-order, made a commitment to personalize every book, so I'm going to be signing everyone's books. Are going to probably go out a day later than we'd like, but we want to personalize every pre-order and say thank you. And our first day sales went nuts, and I got number one or number two for New England autobiography, and the midlife self-help. Now, dare Amazon decide to tell me when midlife is, because I'm not ready for it. But today I have two incredible people that I actually didn't know one of their first names until just now, and I've known them for quite some time. It's Mr. and Mrs. George, and that's what I'm going to refer them to, because as we talk about karate, that's how we refer in Personal Best Karate. They are the owners of Personal Best Karate in Easton, Massachusetts. Husband and wife, dynamic duo, both black belts too, right?
Yes, sir.
Both same level black belt?
No, she's 3rd degree, I'm 2nd degree.
You got some work to do. Wow.
Don't get her mad.
Yes. No. I know. So the truth of the matter is, I met the Georges through my son last year. They do a great program in any local education institution that's got kindergartners that you want to get into an active program. I strongly encourage you to have them come in. They come in once a week for like 4 weeks or something, right?
Yes.
Build confidence, help these kids understand the pillars of just the pillars of
life skills
pillars. I was just so blown away. My teenager went through the program at a different Personal Best, and I had forgotten how amazing the program is, and just the atmosphere, no matter what's happening outside the studio. I don't want to go Karate Kid and go dojo, but can I say dojo?
Yeah, absolutely.
Works. I'm going to go dojo. Dojo it is. So it doesn't matter what's going on outside the dojo. When you're inside, it is love, light, and insight. You guys are just having a great time, smiling. Everybody's having a great time. So tell us a little bit about yourselves. How did you did you meet through karate? How did this?
No, actually, I always say I picked him up in the lunch line.
She did.
We worked at two different businesses, and the cafeteria was a shared cafeteria.
Yeah.
And I said I didn't want to be alone for Valentine's Day, so I saw him in the lunch line and started a conversation.
The rest was history.
The rest is history.
It's funny how she started the conversation, though. What was the question you asked me?
I said, "Are you feeding Are you feeding everybody upstairs lunch?" And it was just his lunch.
Oh,
I said no.
I
had 4 sandwiches and.
You're a hungry guy.
Yes.
4 desserts and.
Why is it when I eat 4 sandwiches I don't look like you? That's amazing.
Come on into karate.
Yeah.
And how long ago was that?
That was 2020.
Yeah. So, no.
25 years ago.
Not 2025. And I don't want to start.
2000, 25 years ago. That's right.
So
not 2020.
It was 25 years.
I thought I was about to start an argument here.
No.
And I wasn't comfortable. I was gonna take that question until Adam strike that question. Yeah, you can't say 25 years ago because
no.
Yeah.
2020 is when we started Personal Best. We own Personal Best Karate.
Yeah, but you've been together for 25 years.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And when did you get into karate?
2010.
Yes.
Yeah, 2010. We actually had started in Norton.
Yeah.
PBK. It was one of those. We walked in. We felt like family.
Yeah.
And my kids were seen. So the instructors always made them look seen, made us look seen. So we loved it.
Yeah, it was the biggest thing is our oldest, when he was young at 6, had ADHD.
Mm-hmm.
We needed a program to get him kind of focused, find something that was an extra activity because he didn't like baseball, didn't like soccer.
The one that's in the dojo now teaching the classes?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah, and he did a private lesson. My youngest at 3 just started standing up and following instructions, and this instructor at that point in time said, well, he can start now. We usually start at 4, but he can start. They started. A week later, she signed up for kickboxing.
Yep.
And then, then the instructor said, you know what? There's a family cap. You're free. I'm like, sign me up. And we've been in it ever since.
Wow. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I think it was probably 2013, we were in Norton.
Mm-hmm.
You guys do the laps running up the stairs and all around and all that. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so you, a lot of husband and wives go do karate together?
Mm-mm.
I don't see a lot.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm sure there's plenty.
Are you guys just like, hey, we go ballroom dancing, or we could go do karate?
We've tried that.
Oh,
I tried to lead way too many times. I could not follow.
No, I had many toe injuries, yes.
Yeah. So you guys started as entry-level novices in 2010.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Went through the ranks. How long did it take you to get a black belt?
4 years.
8 years.
Oh, yes.
Might have taken her twice as long to get there, but she's one ahead of you. I'm not keeping score, but I'm doing math in my head, and it's working out magnificently.
It is. Well, now ask her how long it took her to get her second degree and how long it took me to get my second degree.
2 years for second degree.
Yeah.
7 years.
Wow. So there's not like a time frame set like
there is a time where if you're healthy and you stay focused the whole time, yes, it's second degree is usually about 2.5 years. Third degree is usually 3.5 years. Kind of like based on that.
What's the highest degree? Is there a highest?
10.
How many people have the 10th degree?
Not many in the world right now. It depends in which style of martial arts you're talking about. If you're talking about Taekwondo, I mean, there's roughly maybe 10, 20 in the world that are 9th degree.
Wow.
Most of them have been given out via honor system, like the 10th degree, but there are a few out there.
Those are the ones that have got to walk around with oven mitts. Lethal weapons.
They are. They definitely are.
Master Rappold is 7th degree.
He's a 7th degree.
It.
Yeah.
He should have been about a couple of
9th
years ago. Yeah. But he
started like the whole personal best thing like
33 years ago.
Yeah.
Just as an instructor and started doing it, and then there's multiple locations, right?
Yeah. Before that, he started way before that in martial arts.
Mm-hmm.
He's actually a 5-time world champion point sparrer. He was on Team Paul Mitchell, which is the #1 team in the world.
Mm-hmm.
But he started 33 years ago in Easton in his garage. Got a few, students there, and a few years later, he opened up the Norton one, and his brother took over Easton as a franchise.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a Foxborough one, and there's a Rainham one.
We have had one in Norwood and in Medfield, so those have changed. But yes, we still have the 4 right now: Rainham, Foxborough, Norton, and Easton.
Yep.
You guys gotta be doing something right, because wasn't there a karate studio across the street at one point?
Yep.
It's now a Verizon store.
Yes.
They didn't make it.
Nope.
No.
Yeah.
Nope.
They didn't have personal best. They didn't have personal best going on.
I never tried to judge any other martial arts school. I think everybody has their ups and downs. I know a lot of our students would say we would wave over there. They wouldn't even say hi to us. So we try to be like a friendly, welcoming place instead of that we're going to scare you.
They were Cobra Kai, and you guys are Miyagi.
There you go.
That's your next question. Karate Kid remix here now. Does that bring in a new level of people that come in that say, I want to be like
We definitely have had kids come in hoping to be Cobra Kai. I think there's a new movie coming out too. When is that? Do you remember?
I don't remember when
May?
it is.
Maybe
It's May.
A Karate Kid movie?
Yes.
Yes, another Karate Kid movie. So that'll be exciting.
Macchio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
crazy.
William Zabka, I think was more popular right now than Ralph Macchio.
Yeah. And I don't know. I thought I read someplace that there was like the thought that Ralph Macchio was actually the bully when the whole thing was like all done. Like that, because I'm like, I don't even get it. All I know is that there was a great plot twist when I was 9 years old, and they're just beating each other up and riding dirt bikes and doing all this stuff. I wanted to do karate. I wanted to go out and break bricks and do all this stuff, and I never got to do it. So you bought your students, you get married, you have the best pickup line going. You buy lunch for everybody. It's like the Seinfeld episode. Yeah, about the shrimp.
Yeah.
Hey, the ocean called. They want their shrimp back. Whatever it was. Yeah. So you get married. You go start doing karate in 2010. You go through 10 years of training to get your first and your second, because you're you said 8 years and then 2.5 years.
Yeah.
And then you went 4 years and 7 years. So you're approaching your second degree. Where do you take it from full-time jobs, full-time parents to we want to own a dojo?
It kind of, it's kind of an open question there, but it started with the kids. I mean, the kids was the most important. I went in there really just for the physical part of it, and then he had done karate when he was younger, so that kind of started to I think between COVID, there was an owner before.
I was going to say, when in 2020 did you buy it?
We bought it in 2021 April.
Oh, so you bought it in 2021. I thought 2020. I was going to say, did you buy it?
It took us a year to get through all the agreements and the prior owner to
It's kind of a good thing.
step away.
Because, I mean, karate at COVID probably wasn't.
It wasn't fun. She was working there at the time.
It was painful. It was
Yeah,
painful.
I was going to say, it's.
Yeah, trying to get a 5-year-old to stay focused. I'd go snap to attention. They say yes, ma'am, and then they jump on the bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to believe that this episode will be delayed as far as when the release happens. It's March 14th, and it was 5 years ago yesterday that the world shut down.
Yeah.
And yesterday was like I was out delivering books and just a lot of self-reflection of like what life was like and how crazy it was and all this stuff. And it's like, what? We lived through that? And we lived through it and made it on the other side of it. It was pretty wild. So so you go through the process, you decide to buy the studio, and then you guys had day jobs before this, I'm assuming, right?
I was actually a stay-at-home mom.
Okay.
But she was working at the studio.
I was working. Well, I was working a full-time job when the kids were a little younger, and then I started stay-at-home. And then I started working, at the school as a ranger, teacher, and program director.
That's why you're always over there on the Saturday. You always make a point to go over there and.
I do. I love the Rangers.
Yeah.
They're my favorite.
Oh, there's something.
Yeah.
Like herding cats.
I know. Sometimes
I'm allowed to say that stuff. You guys can't say it. I can say it. As a parent that went there, I am always amazed at the patience of the two girls that are the teachers.
Ava, Miss Anderson and Miss Shinoy.
Yeah, their patience and their tolerance threshold of trying to line up 12 kids under 6 with all different levels of sugar intake before they get there is extraordinary.
Dunkin' Donuts on Saturday.
Oh, yeah. Extraordinary. It's like 10 o'clock. You see them coming in with a box of Munchkins. You're like, oh, boy, that's not going to be
a day.
Yeah, that's not going to. No bueno.
Saturdays usually are the toughest. I used to find that when we used to do intros with the 4-year-olds, when they would come in, you do that around like 4 or 5 o'clock. If they had a snack, they're fine. Saturday mornings, all of them hide behind their parents' leg. Like they don't want to even do the intro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing that I'm fascinated by, that I just when I watch you both work the room, right? And I get it. You get a couple hundred members that are standard that you see all the time, but you have people that you're doing intros every single week, and the way that you talk to them, especially these little kids and their parents, and know their names. Like every single one of them. Like I don't know my name sometimes when I walk in there, and like I'm sitting there going, how do these two like know everybody's name? And you make a point. Like every time I come in, and I know it's I could say it's just me, but I see you do it for everybody else. You walk up to every single person, shake their hand, and say, "Hey, Mr. Peach, how you doing?" Da 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 da. Small talk with everybody. First of all, how do you remember all their names? And then second of all, like, is that just an innate thing? Is that a practice that's in all of these studios that maybe the place across the street didn't institute? Or
I definitely do think it's a practice that our schools do take. I'm going to give you a good story. When I first started, Miss Eileen Rappold was the one that was showing me kind of like the ropes, and she said, you should make sure you go up to each student, talk to each student. We do have a 3-time rule, whether it's like like a physical touch or contact with them, and she said one day a parent came up to her and said, you're the only one who pays attention to my child when he's in class. And that broke my heart. So I always just think about that. I'm like, I can't imagine somebody walking in and never getting recognized or acknowledged coming in. So that's always been like in my brain. So
yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is we teach like with our SWAT members. SWAT stands for Students Who Assist Teach.
Mhm.
So our black belts that help out in class, even our instructors, we
Mhm.
always say you have to introduce yourself if you don't know the name of that student and
Yeah.
use their name. That's the biggest way that you're going to gain that relationship with the student is knowing their name.
Yeah.
So it is a kind of practice. You're always repeating the name. Hi, Mr.
Yeah.
Mr. Peach, how are you today?
You guys seem to have it though right out of the gate. Like it takes most people like time.
I purposely I'll take their when they're filling out their form, I'll purposely want to put this information in because then it starts reminding me what their name is.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know if it's just past experience. Because sales and marketing is what I did
Yeah.
lifelong. So that's from that. But knowing everybody's name is important to me. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, sales and marketing is. I don't want to say it's different, but it is because in sales and marketing, you know who you're calling. You don't know who's coming through the door.
Yeah.
Like I get, excuse me, I get to places, and it's funny because and it's probably because my life's a little bit different with travel. Like, I'll be in Colorado and I'll see somebody that's from Massachusetts, and I'll walk right by him because I'm not used to seeing him in Colorado, right? And I'll be like, I was like, Josh, oh, sorry, I didn't recognize you. And they're like, what do you mean you didn't recognize me? I'm like, you're in the wrong zip code, man.
Right.
But that's like you guys, your team always makes it seem like you knew we were coming, and it's an open schedule.
Right.
Yep.
Oh,
So-
we keep that, try to keep it that way.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, if there are new students, I may forget their name. You get a
Yeah.
lot of things juggling, and I'll either go up to Mrs. George or I'll try to look at their card they grab and try to remember the name, and I'll keep on saying it a couple of times. I always try to associate it with something with them,
Yeah.
or play off the name with some kind of thing. Because when everybody talks to me, I'm like, I always tell them, hey, just call me Captain Kirk.
Yeah.
They always think of Star Trek. So that's an easy way to remember my name, and I try to do the same.
You didn't tell me that.
The
I
attendance
just got
cards.
I just got Mr. and Mrs. George. Yeah, that's it.
No, the attendance cards help too. Sometimes, when they come in for the second time, and if I lose that memory, I'm like, when I'm
Oh, yeah.
collecting the cards, I'm like, oh,
there you go.
Yeah.
There it is.
yeah. Or we do, sometimes we'll go white belt in front of us.
Yeah.
What's his name? So
Yeah.
we always try to make sure that everybody knows. Even our instructors will check too.
I think what you shared with the child, that you were the only ones that paid attention to him. There's a lot more of that than we know.
Yeah.
And that that extra touch
Yeah.
is so important to a lot of these kids.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it definitely is. And when she talked about the 3 touch rule, it's physical touch, it's eye contact,
Yeah.
and it's saying their name verbally.
Yeah. That's you guys should write a book.
I
it
think
would work.
Master Rappel
Rappel will
probably
have to
has
write-
that book. That's he's a great mentor to us. So he everything that he's taught us, and that he's gone through with the other schools. This is why we stuck with Personal Best, because we've always loved the way they've run things, and that's why we want to kind of run the same program and always kind of follow the same rules.
Yeah.
Just because what it did for us as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had I'm going back now, 2014. So, we were getting close to getting our black belts, and we loved what the program did for our boys. We loved the program. And it just socially was fun. We met a lot of new friends. But he ran this academy for people who wanted to become an instructor or a program director or someday own their own franchise. So we took that university. It was a year long. We did everything we did, and we were hoping there would be an opportunity. And an opportunity came, and me and Kelly talked over, and she goes, I really want to run it. And then so, we bought that location. She was running it for the main time because I still have my day job. I'd come and show up a little bit and do some teaching from there. And then, what was it, November 2022, I left my day job, and that's all we do full time now.
Yeah. And I got to tell you, I obviously don't know the business side of what you guys do and the different places that you can get revenue. But one of the things that I really am amazed at, you may be in it for profit, but it sure doesn't seem that way. And it's like the 6 months that my son was there, it was like you'd come over to me and be like, hey, we're going to have this car over here. We're going to have this maze, and we're going to have this, and it doesn't cost anything. Just come in. And I know that it was a large cost for you to do it, and it was a community service. I know that the Personal Best does thousands of turkeys for the turkey trots and the things like that for Thanksgiving. It's very rare to find people that don't think about the profit before the people. And I just sense that with you guys. You've said how much you love it multiple times, and you it seems like the things that you do come for people first.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at in the corporate world, you didn't feel like you were giving anything back to the world itself, and now I feel like I'm giving back.
Yeah.
Seeing those kids and stuff like that. I mean, it is people first to me, and her. It's always been that way. It's kind of like our Halloween event.
Yeah.
I mean, it's open to the public. Come on by.
Yeah.
I just like seeing their faces. Honestly, it's like he's the creator of most of these things. I mean, he makes it like whatever I picture, like he will multiply it by like 100, and it's so exciting, like for me, because I'll see it like when it comes alive, like, and then it's like knowing like what the kids will see. It's like, I'm as excited as they are. So
it was like a Jurassic Park day or something. Was that you had the Jurassic Park Jeeps, and cars? Yeah, that's not cheap, I'm sure. And you guys.
Well, actually, that was during COVID. He actually had gotten the Iron Man car, and so during COVID, they did parades for people's birthdays. So they would drive around, and it would like the Herbie car, and so he knew a lot of these.
Yeah, I was in a car club called Epic Movie Cars.
Yeah,
you name the movie car, and we had them all. And during COVID, when people couldn't get out and have birthdays, we'd go by their house and we'd put the cars up front. We'd step away, and they could go. Do
you have an Epic Movie car?
I used to have one, the Iron Man car.
That was yours.
That was mine, and I had an Iron Man.
The actual Iron Man car?
No, it was a Hyundai Kona.
A Hyundai Kona that they did, and they branded it Iron Man. They made 200 of them, and I had one of them.
Wow!
And it had Iron Man logos everywhere. They had Tony Stark's signature on the dash. They had Iron Man.
I think I saw you driving around in that thing.
Probably could have.
There's probably like one or two still out there. Definitely.
Yeah, I had that, and I had the full Iron Man working suit and everything. But yeah.
Of course you did. What'd you do with the suit?
Oh, it's still.
I used to go to charities and
you have
nonprofits.
A full Iron Man working suit in the basement.
Yes, but it just doesn't go on though. I have to like screw them in.
I was gonna say my body would never fit into that.
I stand there for an hour and she puts all the pieces together and plugs all the wires together and
to make noises and is like the
and the mask opens up and makes noise and the hands flashes, rockets come out of the arm. Oh yeah, it's kind of cool.
You like a superhero person? Do you like you into all the movies?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can't. My oldest, I went to every single. You can't do the DC ones. You got to do the other ones, right?
Marvel.
You got to do the Marvel. Mm-hmm. And I go to them. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. It's like, well, you had to see 3 movies ago to get the 1-2 from here to match it all up and marry. It was worse than Star Wars. And so I spent like a year. Every time I flew, I would watch these movies to try to keep up, and it's like so hard to do.
Yeah,
it's tough.
It is, but unfortunately, we were a little addicted with them for a while. I mean, the reason why I wanted to do karate because I started with kickboxing. I started karate because I saw Black Widow in there, and I was like, I want to be her.
I want to be Black Widow, so I'm going to do karate. Yeah. There we go. Oh, yeah. That is awesome. Well, that's it. That is really cool to see, and you've got your kids are all involved. All of them are there.
My youngest is going for his 3rd degree right now. He's actually in training cycle. So that's exciting.
he beat you guys on the timing?
No, she got hers first, and now
but for the time that it takes.
Well, it's funny because he actually got his 1st degree first, and then my oldest son got his, and then my youngest son got his, and then I got my 1st degree last.
Yeah.
And then then we got our 2nd degrees. And Zach and Alex both got their 2nd degrees. 3rd degree, I beat them all. So, yeah.
That's a very humble statement.
Yes.
I think that's to be noted that she got hers first. And so. Do you stop at some point to get the next degrees? Are you happy with the 3rd? Do you want to get the 4th? Is there a 3rd
degree was very it was one of those I didn't think I was going to end up getting. I thought I would be at 2nd degree. So now it's really I want to see
how far you can go.
How far I can go.
There's a veterans agent that was going there. His daughter was going, and then his daughter said, "I want you to do it." And there's two Seinfeld episodes that I'm going to make reference to. He was Kramer.
He was Kramer.
Right?
Jumping in with the kids.
He did. He jumped. I was like, what the heck are you doing? He's like, my daughter wanted me to do karate. So I did karate. And then he took it on for his own self. Does that happen often?
We do have a couple of parents in there. Yeah, actually, like 3 or 4 of them that they started.
I thought that was just so cool.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, obviously, we do have an adult class, so they don't have to stay in with the young adults.
Yeah.
But to get their kids comfortable, I just thought that
Yeah,
was the
yeah.
neatest.
I mean, that's how we started,
Yeah.
right? I mean, is right after
You were
we
doing
wanted-
what he was doing with your kids. You were in the class, and
We were.
you were in the kids' class.
I could do the young adult class. I'd do any class I could do.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, I could just envision you being the Kramer of 2010 and Norton personal best.
Yeah.
Here comes Mr. George. Yeah. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Be Awesome podcast. If you are enjoying our episodes, please give us a 5-star rating review on your favorite podcast platform, whether it's Spotify, Podbean, Apple Podcasts. Those ratings and reviews do make a difference in helping us get more exposure, more listeners, as well as giving people an insight and understanding as to what they could expect when they listen to our episodes. Thanks again, and you are awesome. How many students, and correct me if I say any of the verbiage wrong, but how many students do you guys have at any certain point?
I mean,
Well, before COVID, they used to have about 240 somewhere around there.
Consistently.
Yeah, we've been kind of floating around 200 right now. It kind of goes up and down. So I think right now we're at like 216.
Mm-hmm.
But it definitely it matters the time of year and stuff. Summer gets a little harder than other times.
Yep.
And how do you how long does an average person, like if someone comes in, do you have what the likelihood they're going to go for straight through, or is there like
it's funny, yeah. So some of the stats that I know about is how many people try martial arts in the world. 5%.
Mm-hmm.
And then how many actually get their black belt? 0.1%.
Wow.
From that 5%.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's not many.
Yeah. And you probably have a lot of people that come in one class and then they're like, I'm done. I don't want to do this. Or
We don't have a lot.
Yeah, I feel like it is more the adults, like maybe they're like the physical aspect of it. Maybe they find it a little bit harder, and we're always learning too, like, to kind of help get them where they can build themselves up instead of like,
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, kids are usually pretty good. I would say like maybe 1 out of 10 that don't want to continue for after the first class. Maybe even bigger than that, probably like maybe 1 out of 20. But I know I had a good friend who her son had tried it, and he just didn't want to go on that. Like he just, he didn't care for the punching or the kicking. It didn't like any of it. And some kids, I guess it matters how they perceive it. Obviously we always say part of our student creed is that we're defending ourselves. We're not hurting each other. The only time we're ever not hurting, but is to protect ourselves or defend ourselves. Some kids, they still don't want to see it. They don't want to think about ever hitting another person, which is amazing. Like they shouldn't, but there's times in a place that you might need it.
They don't want to be the Ralph Macchio bullied bully. I see it.
Well, I mean, technically, William Zabka was the bad guy first.
Yeah, well, but when the series came out, they were trying to say that Ralph Macchio was the bad guy in the original Karate Kid.
Well, they were trying to say that because he did an illegal kick.
Mm-hmm.
So that nice kick goes up and he does the kick and he did it to the face. You're not supposed to kick it to the face.
The crane kick.
Yeah.
Which was actually a fake martial arts. That's actually not a real kick. Or at least that's what I've read. That it's not a real. We don't do it.
I think you guys should do like one class where you just do illegal practice kicks, not on each other. Just that'd be funny. Have everybody in there on the crane kick stance. Yeah. What the heck are they doing? Yeah. Do you get? I mean, you obviously don't ask this, but I'm guessing you get a lot of kids that are being bullied that are looking to be able to protect themselves.
Yeah, definitely parents will come in and when we have them fill out the information, it's really to see like why have they come in, whether it's, because it was suggested. We brought our son in because of ADHD. But yeah, people will say, he was having trouble at school or, whether it's, being able to stay focused or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we help. A lot of kids come in. Oh, my son's being bullied.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give a talk to them, and what should they do? 'Cause sometimes they don't know what to use in their martial arts. We
Yeah.
say don't hit, don't hurt, but they don't protect themselves sometimes. So we have to explain to them.
That has to be hard.
It is.
That has to be like, if I were to say that has to be, it has to be the most rewarding and the hardest part, or one of the hardest parts of what you do, because on the one sense it's rewarding, and it's not rewarding. And this is all visual, what I catch. It's not so much as these kids are coming in that are having a struggle in school, and you're fixing it by showing them how to punch, block, kick. You're building a tribe inside where everything outside for 8 hours of that day might stink and be difficult, and they come in for that half hour, and they feel at home. They feel welcome. They feel good. So it's not just the training part to protect themselves outside. You're insulating them for just a little period of time to let them feel good, because everybody's nice to one another.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Like
if we
the
could
number of
build-
times that people say "excuse me" when they're trying to walk through to get changed, or I'm like, guys, the politeness, it's too much. It's too much. I go home and it's like, these people are just way too polite all the time.
But it does help build confidence too. I mean,
Yeah.
just to have that comfort, like, whether or not you're going somewhere else and, not knowing what's going to happen, but knowing you can go somewhere and you have that comfort is going to build your confidence, because you're going to be able to focus on what you need to.
Well, I'm guessing there's a lot of lifelong friendships that are formed there, and both adults and kids, because I've seen it in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Like I've seen, kids that, might not go to school together that are out talking, and then the parents are talking, and then, the adults that it didn't look like they were probably friends before they came in there are out talking about what they're going to do, or go to Papa Gino's and grab a
Yeah.
slice or something. So
Yeah, so many times I've seen parents, they start to talk because they're sitting next to each other. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Even looking at our family, I mean, we made plenty of friends through
Right.
Personal Best Karate Norton. I mean, even our kids, when Alex started going to the Easton school, Drew, Mr. Causey, who was one of our instructors at the time,
Mhm.
he wasn't an instructor at that point in time, but they became friends in 2 separate towns, and they would travel.
Yeah.
And do, so yeah, it's definitely a place where, it's a community.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, you 216 members. We used to be. Do you want to get to 240 or 300, or is there a magical number of what the ideal?
I don't have a magical number. As long as we are able to support ourselves as well.
Turn the lights
Absolutely. We're not about material things, definitely not. But as long as we can support and then support a community as well, like that's our biggest goal. If we have 300 students,
Mhm.
that's awesome. If we can focus on 200 and still keep the lights on, I'm happy with that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it as how many people can we help?
Yeah.
If I can help all of them, I will try my best.
Yeah. Not into material things other than an Iron Man suit. That I'm gonna tell you, that's cool. I have a Santa Claus suit. And that's more fitting.
But
for
you
me.
have the original Santa Claus suit.
Yes, I do. Yeah, that actually just came up in conversation today with somebody that because the foreword of my book is Santa Claus, and I'm not going to quiz you on the book, and you didn't even read the foreword yet. I bet.
No, I didn't.
I'm glad I got to you late. But yeah, someone was like, "Is this is really Santa Claus?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's really Santa Claus." So I can one up you on that. I said, not only is the foreword written by the only person legally named Santa Claus in North Pole, Alaska, that happens to look like what we would think Santa Claus would look like, I have his Santa Claus suit. Like, you gotta be kidding me. I'm like, no, I'm gonna start wearing it in my keynotes. That's my costume wearing for 2025. I'm gonna go on stage and wear the Santa Claus, wear the Santa Claus suit. Which that's interesting. Here's something that's interesting. I went around and delivered books yesterday. It seemed like everybody that I was going to deliver books for had their kids going to your class. I went back twice.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Marcy,
Yeah.
she met me there, and then Marissa, I called to say, hey, I'm going to drop the book by. She says, oh, I'm on my way to go to Personal Best.
Yeah.
That was like wild, like what the odds and timing of all of that is. That how many of those, like, you do, 4 classes a day?
5 Rangers, white through orange,
We got
2
some doubles.
advanced, we got
Anywhere
adults,
between
and
6 and
black
8.
belts 5.
6 and 8.
Yeah,
Yeah, anywhere between 6 and 8 classes.
yeah.
And how many people how many people walk through the door every day?
Ooh. Usually when I check at the end of the day, because just to see, it's usually about 70
To
for
80.
70 students.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, it's a busy place.
Mhm.
Because I mean, I used to go in just for one class, and it was busy for me. I was like,
Yeah.
all right, I've had enough.
Yeah.
You guys are there all day.
Yeah.
I kind of like the chaos. It's like organized chaos. I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's nuts. The end of the classes with the Ranger classes
Yeah.
with the kids that get all the clips, which I've got some clips for you guys because apparently,
Awesome.
yeah. Well, you'd be
if
like,
you want to pick up prizes, we'll
oh
let
my,
you.
my son's like, I think I'm at 10. I'm like, no, you only got 8. He's like, I'm at 10. And I look under the seat. I'm like, yeah, you're at 10. They drop under the seat of the truck or some other
Right.
place. That's the hardest thing that I saw. And that's when at the end of the class, so what the Ranger class does, at the end of the class, you guys do something really cool with the Rangers, these 4 to 6 year olds, along with giving them some exercise, along with teaching them some form, and along with teaching them about the pillars and the right things to do. You have a circle that you get everybody together and you talk about, I always love the one, hey, did you thank your mom or dad for driving you here? That's my favorite one.
Yeah.
Because I look at my son, he's like, no, he didn't, but that's okay. But he can nod yes. But when he gets done the class, he comes over and he says, Papa, thank you for driving me to class today. And that's really nice. The thing that's hard for me, though, is when, hey, who's done what they're supposed to do this week or whatever it is, raise your hand, they get the clip and they get the prize. And the parents don't always raise their hands.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And they don't always raise their hands, not because they're not present, right? They're just not, maybe not paying attention. Where when you see these kids that are like,
I know.
and it seems like all the kids are trying.
Yeah.
Even the ones that are what you would think nuts, like just not, they had all the Munchkins and Dunkin' Donuts, and they're running on jet fuel. I think it's a great program, but it's like that's got to be hard for you when you announce the clips and
when you can't give it out. I mean, the clip basically is all about making sure they stay good at home. That's why
Mhm.
the parents raise the hand if they're
Mhm.
good at home that day.
Well, I always say when I show them about the clips, I always go, if they're not receiving a clip, just let them know ahead of time.
Mhm.
That way there's no tears. Obviously, sometimes you are going to get tears.
Yeah.
But if they they can use that as an incentive, like as let's say they're getting ready for class and like, okay, I need you to get your uniform on, and your child is arguing or still playing a video game when they should be getting ready. Like, if you're not listening to me, you're not going to get your
you're not going to get a prize from the treasure chest.
Exactly.
I know, right?
So it's a nice incentive, like, and it helps them just that little quick reminder. And I always say, like, little reminders is going to help them. The more you remind them, it's just like something little, it clicks in their brain. Like, sometimes you don't even have to say the clip, like, well, if you're not listening, and all of a sudden they're gonna be, oh, I gotta listen because I have to get my clip.
Yeah. I think it's great. I think that finding ways to build some form of structure and understanding without, I mean, the Santa thing is just, it's way overkill, right? If you're not good, Santa's not coming for 364 days. You say that, like, really? Like, that's
Can't
what,
say it in March.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't hold.
yeah. Now I know why Santa's not coming. So,
Yeah.
yeah. December.
They're gonna remember.
Yeah, December 26th is like a reset, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's important that the biggest thing that I just was really impressed by was just that 5 minutes sitting with the kids, letting them raise their hand, letting them give answers to what they believe was right or wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the answers are hysterical.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think you could write a book just on kid interactions in there when you ask them.
I have started to write quotes that some of these kids have said. Yeah, I have it in my notes.
Yeah.
One of these days, like, they say the darnest thing kind of thing. So yeah.
There was one where somebody said, "Where do you want to go?" or something, and when the kids go Disney World, and then the next kid goes Disney World. So it was like, so then one of the teachers says, "Why do you want to go to Disney World?" Because they said they want to go to Disney World. I want to go to Disney World too.
Go
it's
with
like,
him.
I didn't know where else to say, so I just went with Disney World. We're all going. So.
Yeah. Well,
like,
kids do say the darndest thing, and you're always going to have somebody who says maybe something that they shouldn't say. But you know, I always remember even Alex, my youngest, when he was younger, you know, why should you, what was it? Why should you, you know, not push your friend or something? And his answer was something like, so he doesn't get hit by a car or something. Like, it, you know, it's like sometimes,
logic.
Yeah, it's very logical. And, you know, and I do remember, you know, our instructor, Master Kamara, would come up and he'd be like, did you hear what your son said today? And like, he would just say some of the darnest things. And I'm like, oh, and I mean, he's always been that kid anyway, but yeah.
Yeah, it was when our kids started preschool, the teacher, the head of the school would say, your kids tell us everything. And it was terrifying because what they say and how they say it at home, you're like, oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Like, thankfully, you know, we don't give swear words for our kids, but they could say a whole bunch of other funny stuff. And whenever I'd see mine raise his hand, I'm like, oh man, what's he going to say? what is he going to come up with now?
Right.
What thing is he going to do to make people laugh?
Alex was always that one for our, like, Zach I'd be telling stories about Alex and Zach would go, well, what's so funny about me? I go, you were like the sweetest kid. I don't have any funny stories. Alex, I have
countless
left and right countless stories of things that he should not have said.
Yeah. I won't go into my things that shouldn't have been said.
Right.
Yeah. Mine was the story for me was I was probably 4 or 5. It was when I was living in Bridgeport. I was with my mother, and we were at Pathmark. They have Pathmarks up here. It was a grocery store, and walking through the aisles, and there's this kid my age. Now I'm in the carriage, or I might have been walking with my mother. I can't remember. But this mother had a kid on the leash. You see those?
Yeah.
Like the harness with the kid with the leash.
Yes.
And I was like, Mom, and I said it loud, of course, because I have to say it loud. I'm like, Mom, look at that. She's walking her son like a dog. And my mother's like, shh, be quiet. I'm like, why is he walking like a dog over there? Why has he got the leash on? And I'm like, oh, my mother was just horrified.
Right.
She's trying to be nice, and the mother who's got this kid on a leash, who's just trying to. I mean, he's pulling.
Yeah.
My mother's just like, sorry. I didn't tell him to say that, but I'm kind of curious myself too.
Well, I mean, I do. You know, you go to somewhere like Disney World, you're going to see a lot of people with their kids on the leashes because they run off. It's a big place.
I don't know that I could do that. I don't know. I just would feel strange.
Like you're walking a dog.
Well, I would feel like I feel like we'd be clotheslining people because you'd be just running as far as you could. And it's some of them are like elastic, so they just run elastic and give them a little tug and shoot back. Oh yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no, that's not my. I think we should remove the human leash.
Oh yeah,
that should be removed.
100%.
Yeah. So what you know, when you guys are putting together these programs and when you're putting together these classes and when you're thinking about the good things to do in the community, you know, how do you figure all that out as a husband and wife team? That's got to be tough sometimes to like, is working together at times a challenge? Like, do you guys like, it's got to be a lot. I had a family business with my father, and I think I told you guys yesterday. He fired me every other day. it's hard because you and taking, and I'll take it one step further. How do you keep it separate, or do you keep it separate? Because this is Mark and I talk about. He's big work-life balance. Like he's got a regiment, and he keeps it all in check, and I don't. I'm pretty much a mess with all of it. And so how do you do that? Like if you were to sit and give advice to a couple or father, son, or mother, daughter, or mother, son, or two family members that spend a ton of time together, what advice would you give them to be successful, not just at their office or dojo, but in life? Because that's the big thing, right? Like, why are we doing all this?
Right. Well, it's kind of a different answer for each situation, but I do remember when we first actually started, the biggest thing I was told was, make sure you keep your job separate from each other. Where if he's program director, let him be the program director. Don't be in the middle of it. If I'm running Rangers or a class, him not going in it. It's kind of keeping our jobs
staying in your lane.
Staying in our lane. That I think helps a lot. We do a lot of times, a lot of things blend. He's definitely communicative, like to say I'm thinking of doing this, and then and then I'll go, I don't think, or I'll say so he's always like taking in what I have to say and getting my side. He is definitely the planner, the one to create the ideas. So I let him because I think his ideas are usually pretty awesome anyway. But he does hear like my side and like how I feel if I one or the other.
Yeah, I mean, it's the biggest thing is be supportive and always communicate. Because if you don't do either one of those, then it's just going to fall apart. Even in life, if I don't support her in what she wants to do, in that next step, I mean, I got to be supportive. Yeah, but let's try it. Give her that chance to try, because you're never going to know, right?
And he's always been supportive, like from the very beginning. I did nail. I went to school for nails. Well, I started working full time, and then I wanted to go to school for nails. He let me do it. Not that he let me, but it's obviously as like a trying to run a household, and it's like he never he doesn't stifle anything. I sit there. It's usually me going, ooh, we should run this business. Start running this business. And he definitely if we looked into it, like what we could do, and he's still always like very supportive that way. We're very different people. Like when he gets home from work, he's still kind of like on work mode. I tend to want to shut down, and I do want to take that 5 minutes, and just like either watch TV or something, and he'll go, hey, did you talk to this person? And it's like I just want to shut down from that. So there are times that I need to like have my few minutes.
I think where you have that opposites attract, it comes into play, yin and yang right here, and that way you're supportive. Absolutely. She supports me in the same exact way. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing. And with this, we don't really classify it as work because we enjoy it so much. It's like giving back and seeing those smiles and all that. So we do blend it with our regular life. Yeah. We treat everybody that comes to that door just like family. I mean, you look at the students and I'll be like, okay, when's your next baseball game? I'll come by. Hockey game, plays. We go everywhere. We watch all the kids' stuff. We go to them, and it just makes it so much easier.
I'd love to see you guys take the Strength Finders test. Have you taken that?
No.
Don Clifton Strength Finders test. So it's a series of questions that you have like 10 seconds for each question. It's 300 questions or something. It's like, are you more like this or more like that? And you have to pick one or the other. And you go through it, and there's 4 leadership categories. It's a leadership test. There's 4 leadership categories with 38 different qualities inside the characteristics. And the ideal team is like what you say, like opposites attract, but people that complement each other in their different strengths. And I bet I would bet money, not knowing you other than surface level and coming in, I would bet money that you guys would probably have the four characteristics separate. Like you wouldn't be in the same area. That you should do that.
Yeah. Now I want to.
I know, right?
Don Clifton Strength Finders 2.0.
Strength Finders.
You buy the book. It's like $18.99.
Okay.
And the book's great, and it tells you all the different strengths and what they mean and how it is. And in one of my companies, we do it. In all of my teams, we do it. And I'm typically the only one that's in the woo, winning over others. Like no one that I've ever worked with has that. And Paul, who's part of one of my a service company that I'm a part of, he's been doing the test for years with all of his teams, and he says, "Man, I've never had a woo." I was like, "Well, woo, what the heck is that?" And so I took the test and I said, "Hey, I'm a woo." And he's like, "You gotta be kidding me." I'm like, "No, not only am I a woo, that's my number one," because it gives you the 4 strongest. Right? A lot of tests show you what your weaknesses are. Strength Finders focuses on finding your strengths and for you to build them up more. Too often we think about what we're weak at and we're like, I got to get better at that. No, stay terrible at that. Find what you're really good at and build that up. because it makes a difference. I was like, we were talking to Billy Nixon yesterday, and he's like, man, I had this guy that worked for me, and he was just awesome at generating new leads. But his ADD, because he was talking about me, listened to one of my podcasts, he's like, he would just drop the ball after that. He's like, when we realized that if he just went out and generated leads for us and we had somebody do the other stuff, we were unstoppable, right?
Yeah.
And it's just finding that complementary thing. So,
Yeah.
well, we got a few more minutes here, and I want to ask this, and I don't know how long this series of questions is going to take, but so karate's been around forever, right? Like thousands of years.
Yes.
Yeah.
How often does like we talked about the crane kick being illegal? Like how often does it actually change, like the form or the types of things that you're doing or the programming? Is it an ever evolving thing, or is it like these are the steps that have been set in stone since 1600 or whatever? Like what is that?
I mean, the styles of martial art, if you go back, like karate, that's a martial art.
Yeah.
But underneath karate, there's several different types of karate. There's Shotokan, Kempo, and many others. But they're based off of the clan. What they did is they just modified a few
Is
moves.
jujitsu karate?
No. Jiu-jitsu is a martial art.
Okay.
So jiu-jitsu started in Japan, and now you got Brazilian jiu-jitsu, which is they modified jiu-jitsu a little bit.
Yeah.
And they call it Brazilian because that's where it was modified.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll get a lot of martial arts out there that are called mixed martial arts because they mix a lot of and blends things
Yeah.
together.
MMA fighting.
MMA fighting, but we're also mixed martial arts. We have Taekwondo, Muay Thai, and Jiu-Jitsu.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, rolled together. But we really say it's more of a blended martial arts. I don't want you to think about cage fighting because that's not what we teach. We
Mhm.
teach a well-rounded self-defense. But I mean, they've been around, and if you go to different schools, they may teach that similar form. If someone else is doing Taekwondo and we're doing Taekwondo, there are forms or katas that are named, like Hwarang is the name of one of the forms.
Mm-hmm.
And someone else may do it a little bit differently,
Mm-hmm.
just a little bit to tweak it, And if you kind of looked way back when, I guess you could say that our form of Hwarang is a PBK style Taekwondo.
Mm-hmm.
You could really go down to that way, but the main crux of the form is generally kept
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times. But
It's still got to be a ton of work and staying up, and I mean it's all about form, and it's not about breaking bricks or boards or nunchucks and all that other stuff. It's truly about what I see is that just that discipline and that form and making sure that all stays fluid, right?
yeah,
So mental and physical at the same time.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I mean, and again, is it practical?
Mm-hmm.
If you looked at one of our forms that we used to have, there was before you do the actual move, like a knife block, right?
A knife block.
Knife block. So my knife hand, and I block something from there, and I could follow up. But the chamber for that, so how do I position my hand before I do the move?
Mm-hmm.
It used to be bringing up this long chamber like this.
Mhm.
But there's like a meaning behind that move.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone was doing a circle punch, I'd block that punch with my two hands like this.
Mhm.
I'd come back up, and then I would do my knife block to their neck or something like that. Whereas now, instead of bringing our hands way up, we modified it. So what you're doing is you're grabbing their wrist, you're pulling them in, and now I can do the knife chop. So there's different.
Knife block, knife chop. You got
Yeah.
a lot of good stuff going on. Chopping necks.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But again, there's a lot of practicality in the modifications that
Yeah.
are done to the forms.
You ever had somebody come in and say, like, I was walking down a dark alley over the weekend, somebody popped up on me and I gave him a knife chop and then a knife block and then gave him a chop to the neck?
I would think most of them would be either an uppercut or a,
Yeah.
Yeah.
a front teep kick or something.
Well, it's interesting because now I'm just segueing and going off the rails a little bit. But, one of the things so I do a lot of work with schools. And one of the things that I challenge with, and I'm not that smart, but we talk about things in schools like active shooters. We do all this training. We do, Alice training or any of these other trainings that come out. And those are all practices, right? Those are all things that you practice that if it were to happen, and then you go, what if it happens? Are you going to be psychologically, mentally ready to do that? Now, you just said it's karate's mental and physical, or martial arts.
Mm-hmm.
What is, how comfortable would you like? I'm trying to figure out how to ask the question, but like, you do all this training, you do all this preparing, you do all of this for getting the black belt in hopes that you never have to use it. But how do you know that someone's psychologically like ready if they're put into a position where they have to do a knife block or a knife chop?
Yeah.
I mean, just going for your black belt, you're going through the training cycle. We do have the section of the self-defense of if, somebody grabs your collar or, lapel or wrist or something like that, and your reaction. And we talk about our reaction speed. Mr. George always calls me the deer in headlights because I tend to stare. Like if I spill something, I don't know. I don't maybe you could answer it better, Mr.
I think
George,
I just found my job. Like wear a ski mask outside the door after class and go grab students as they come out and see what they do. We
always say, think about if like your son or daughter or your family, somebody that you care about was to get hurt. What would you do? How would you react? If you were to try to hurt my kids, even though they probably could, fight better than I could at this point, but you wouldn't hold me back. Like I'd want to try to protect them as much as possible.
Yeah. I mean, you look at it the way it is like a form or anything that's just more muscle memory. They get muscle memory of doing these moves, and so it provides them whatever tools they have. So if they ever come in that confrontation, they have these tools to use, and just use whatever comes to your mind really quickly. Base it all off muscle memory. When you go to your first degree, we're just making sure they're memorizing a lot of the tools that we gave them and understand them. And same with second degree, understand a little bit more. Third degree is one of the most physical degrees to get, at least in our program, where you have to be 16 because now we're applying them in a more, I don't want to say aggressive environment, but a more physical environment, challenging environment, a physical environment to make sure you can protect yourself. You might come up with a few bruises, but you're not going to be really seriously hurt where you have to go to the hospital, right? Yeah. But again, to get that, lack of better words, deer in headlights out of you. So if something happens, you're in that more stoic and confident stance or anything there. So,
yeah, no, I just always curious about that fight or flight and what I've been put in a couple of challenging situations, and I don't have any martial arts, mixed martial arts, boxing, fighting, wrestling, arm wrestling, thumb wrestling. I got none of that. But I've been put in interesting situations where, two guys attempted to mug me in Las Vegas at a gas station once, and I just ran at them. Thankfully, I'm a bigger guy, so I think standing up to them feared them enough that they stood back. But if they pulled out a knife, I wouldn't know a knife block or a knife chop or anything, and I just play dead, to go like a fainting goat.
Yeah, well, we tell if there's a guy with a knife or a gun at you, and they're saying, "Give me your money." Here's my wallet. Don't try to risk it as much as possible. But I mean, if they come at you and they're stabbing, try to use a defense that we taught.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I got to tell you, I love what you guys are doing. I think what you're doing, and you've joined the Easton Chamber of Commerce as a board of directors, which is an honor to do. I did it, and but also it's a great service that you provide to support all businesses in the town, which continues your passion over profit mission. And so. I love what you guys are doing. I think it's great. Keep the energy, keep all that you're doing, all the positivity that you're shedding. Keep those lights bright in that space, and hopefully everybody that goes in there feels the same way that I do, and I'm sure they do. And I'm sure most of them are in my shoes that they didn't know your first name. Maybe still don't. Maybe never will. So that's really cool. But how do people, if somebody wants to get exposed to a class and see what it's like and join or do whatever, because you guys came to us, you went to our son's school and all that. But how do people get a hold of you, or what do they do, or what does that look like?
I mean, there's several options. We are always trying to find ways to be in the community to offer up the opportunity. But yeah, they could obviously reach us at our school or email us, and or actually the website will.
What's the website?
Personalbestkarate.com.
Okay. Just
Yeah.
schedule a
you
introductory
can
class
schedule.
and rock and roll.
Yeah, or you can just send a contact email saying I'm interested. I have a 5-year-old, or I'm personally
Yeah.
interested.
Be awesome, Sammy.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's good.
yeah,
All right.
absolutely.
Well, this is great. Thank you for making the time. This was like put on you guys 24 hours ago. I brought you your book, which I told you to read. I was going to test you on, and you committed to coming here. So I
we
appreciate
figured
it.
if that makes you have to bring us back on, so
Yeah.
we're gonna read
Oh
it
yeah, yeah.
and
No,
cover
read it.
that.
I do. I want to hear.
Yeah.
The book's just blown me away as far as the top seller statuses that we got in the first 24 hours at Amazon, and the number of people that read it. I actually read it. Like, you can tell me you read it, but when people call and they say, I read this chapter, I love the Steve the Jerk chapter, I love this chapter, and it's like, wow, like, oh my God, this is real. So I will have you guys back for a book club
That'd be awesome.
episode. So,
Love
but keep kicking.
I
You
will,
guys are
definitely
great,
will.
and I love the Me Versus Me. I was gonna do a Be Awesome Me Versus Me shirt. I think that's the greatest. The greatest thing that people can do is compete with themselves every day and get a little bit
Absolutely.
better. So,
Yep.
Absolutely.
It's never about you or someone else. It's you against you.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
So-
Yeah.
This has
Appreciate
been
it.
awesome. Thank
Yeah.
you. And that will do it for another episode. And if you want our book, Be Awesome, The Essential Elements to Living Your Legacy with Grace, you can do that right on Amazon, and you can get it in Kindle, paperback, and hardcover. And we'd love to get the 5-star ratings and reviews if we deserve it for the book. And if we don't, give me an email, josh@beawesome.com, and let's talk about it, because I'm hoping this isn't the last one, or maybe I can make some next minute edits. So that'll do it from here. If you can be anything, be awesome.
Coming to you from underneath a peach blossom. It's time for an episode of Be Awesome. Find positivity throughout your life and work. Just like our mascot rooster, Steve the Jerk.